I think there's a severe underappreciation for the value of strength work for runners and triathletes and swimmers and so on. And the thought process probably goes something like this. There's limited time in the week. You've got a job, you got to sleep, and you only have a certain amount of time to train. And the thought is you want to spend most of that time outside or in the pool working that cardiovascular system. And time in the gym, maybe the thought is that it's going to be adding unnecessary bulk and slow you down on the race course, or just possibly just be a waste of your time. And it turns out that strength training integrated correctly into your endurance work, it's going to make you less injury prone and more efficient. And efficiency translates to faster. And so I've asked Eric Pohl a few questions about this. Eric is a trainer at Mercy Healthtrax, and Eric's going to talk about how you can find out your weaknesses through something called a functional movement screen, and just basic exercises that anybody should do, whether you're an athlete or not. This is going to be your starting point. So let's get started.
I'm a strength and conditioning coach for Mercy Sports Medicine. I work here at Healthtrax in Springfield.
So what is Healthtrax, and what's your philosophy?
What I do, performance, so it's like phase 1, 2, and 3 of fixing the athlete, getting the athlete back to moving better, and now making the athlete even stronger, faster, bigger, whatever their goals are, to get them better at being whatever they play, a basketball player, football player, runner, biker, swimmer.
What's your philosophy, and how do you work that with the athletes that come in?
Well, Greg Cook is the founder of the Functional Movement Screen, which we use for every single athlete and rehab patient. To some extent, he said it very well: move well, then move often. That's what their mentality is, and we've kind of adopted that same mentality. If you're not moving well, if you don't have good movement patterns, then moving often is just going to lead to overuse injuries, pain, swelling, traumatic injuries. So moving better, correcting your just basic human movement patterns is our first kind of step, our philosophy, and then we can build on top of that and start moving often.
Tell me about the functional movement screen.
The FMS is the very first thing that an athlete will do when they come in here. It's just a battery of 7 different basic human movements, from a squat to a lunge to a shoulder reaching pattern. It has side to side, left to right side pattern, so we can see differences, asymmetric differences. So if you have one side that's moving worse than the other, that could lead to injury. I mean, your body works in symmetry, so we want everything to be the same on each side. That's going to help you move better and keep you injury free. So the FMS is just to bring out those bad movement patterns, and overall really to bring out pain. If you have pain, and one of the, for instance, the shoulder reaching pattern, if you have pain during that movement, now we need to address that pain outside of here, so we can refer you to the proper physician or the proper orthopedic doctor that can tell you what's wrong, why you have that pain, and hopefully get it fixed, get you into rehab, and go through the whole cycle.
So if you have somebody without pain but they have movement dysfunction, movement problems, where do you go from there? Once you've identified those bad patterns, what do you do?
As long as there's no pain, now we can work on correcting those bad movement patterns with corrective exercises. There really is no set which corrective we're going to use, but we've done thousands of these tests and kind of know where to start if you have a bad straight leg raise or a bad overhead squat. There's a hierarchy of which ones we fix first. The simplest ones that start on the ground are the ones we're going to fix first, the straight leg raise, and the standing ones, the lunge, the squat, are the things that we're going to fix last. And the mentality, the thought is fixing those basic smaller patterns are going to make those bigger patterns better.
And so, yeah, that's probably a question a lot of runners, cyclists, swimmers would have. They look at your board and they say, you're having me doing a carry, you're having me do a squat. Well, I really don't do that when I run. How does that help me?
So our job here is to make you a better athlete. It doesn't matter if you're a soccer player, volleyball player, baseball player, a runner, a swimmer, a biker. You are a human. Your sport is being a human. If we can see through the FMS those basic human movements and make them better, that's going to make you a better athlete. you're going to move better. So even though you don't squat when you run, you don't squat when you throw the baseball, having a better squat pattern is going to make you more efficient overall. Does that make sense? So it really doesn't matter what sport you play. Just moving better is going to keep you injury free, keep you on the field, or keep you on the track, or whatever your sport may be.
So when I look at the board here, I see 5 generic patterns. I see or movements. I see a hinge, a pull, a squat, a push, and a carry. How do you work those in with the correctives that you get from the FMS?
So they kind of play really well into each other. We see on the FMS your bad movement patterns and your good movement patterns. If you have a bad one, we're going to work to correct it. We're going to stay away from trying to add strength. Or if you have a bad squat, we're not going to do more squats. It's just going to make the problem worse. We're just loading a bad pattern. We don't want to do that. But at the same time, if you have a good lunge, now we need to strengthen that basic human movement pattern, and that's what the whiteboard is for. So we see that you have a good movement. Now we need to make that pattern better. We need to make that movement better. We need to add strength and stability to that movement. And that's kind of what the whiteboard does. It's the basic, it's the 5 pretty much human movements that everyone should be able to do. If you can do them efficiently, now we're just adding strength to them. So we start with just the super basic exercises with our beginner program. We move up. Once you've been here a while and you understand the movements and the workouts, now we can get a little more creative with different implements like the bar and body weight and TRX bands and kettlebells especially.